to another vlog. I'm Manur, a second year PhD student at Oxford University, and today I will be talking about approaching potential supervisors. Now, this is something I have seen being reported on a lot of different platforms that people do not hear back from supervisors that they're trying to approach or labs that they're trying to reach out to. Why does that happen, and how can you overcome this? How do you make sure that you get replies from people you're trying to approach? So, the first point of contact with any professor that you're trying to have is through your email. This is where your answer lies. You need to make sure that you're writing a good email, you're communicating very well. But for this, I would suggest not to ask other people or copy their formats or their emails just because they successfully got a reply from a professor or landed a PhD admission somewhere. That doesn't work for everyone, and a format that someone used or an email that someone used in particular might not work for you. You can have a look at formats, but try not to copy off the exact same thing. Because writing an email and approaching professors is just setting the first communication, and then you need to communicate further if you get a reply, and a difference in tone or a difference in writing style is something you do not need to convey. That would really go against you, so just avoid that. The simple thing that you can do is write a very short, concise and clear email, and this should not be more than 3 paragraphs, and these paragraphs have to be short and concise in themselves as well. What do these 3 paragraphs contain? The first paragraph has to be your introduction. Very short and simple about who you are, what your name is. If you want to specify your gender, write it in a bracket if you're communicating with someone outside your own culture. And if you want to do it, there's no obligation. And secondly, what you're currently doing or what you've done. For example, if you're a current master's student or an undergrad or you've completed recently, just mention that. And this should not take more than 3 or 4 sentences. That's it. If you have a special achievement, like if you have a gold medal or you stood first, if you have the highest GPA, although that doesn't really matter, but if you really want to highlight it, you can do it there. But make sure it doesn't go beyond 4 sentences in any case. The second paragraph is your main body of the email, and that is the most important part of your email. This is where you tell that person why you are approaching them. So make sure you're not writing a very generalized second paragraph. For example, I would never have written that I am writing to you because I'm interested in virology. That is something that would put someone off immediately, because there are thousands of different professors working in virology or any other field for that matter. If I write that, I'm clearly indicating that I am using the same email for at least 100 different supervisors. So don't do that. How you can make sure that they reply to you or they take interest in you is to go through their profile, see what their latest projects are, the latest publications are. The university websites and lab websites have these details. Just make sure you do your homework before you approach someone. Now, you might think that this would take a lot of time, especially if you're applying to a lot of different people, but you need to put in the time because anything worth having takes time. And if you really want to reach your dream lab or dream university, then you at least need to be reading about what they do. Why are they a perfect match for you? This will not only help you get a reply to your email, but also help you decide whether you are actually interested in those projects. So the second paragraph should reflect that. For example, you might have read a recent paper from their lab. Even if you haven't read the complete paper, you at least should know what it contains, what methods they use. Just maybe skim through some papers, skim through their current projects, and then talk about those projects that I saw so and so paper or so and so project, and I'm interested in the same area, or I have some previous experience, depending if you have some. And just make sure the second paragraph conveys that. And even with that information, just make it short, not more than 5 to 6 sentences. Just convey that you want to work with them because of so and so reason. And then the third paragraph is just your closing, that you hope for a reply from them or you hope to hear back. And if you're attaching something with that email, maybe your CV, just that. And that's it. Your email should not contain anything else. On the point of having attachments in your email, just make sure you do not have too many attachments, because that would for sure make your email land in the spam boxes. Because you're approaching someone for the very first time, you do not want to spam them with a lot of your transcripts, your CV and everything. The only thing that you can attach and should attach is your CV or resume. That's it. If they take an interest from your email or from your CV, they will let you know what other things they need. Just don't send them a bulk of information in one go. Don't sound desperate, and don't make your email land in the spam. That way they will never look at it. Another thing to decorate your email with is the email subject line. And this is the first thing that they will see and decide whether they really want to open your email or not. So make sure it's concise, clear, and conveys why you are approaching them. If you are approaching them for a PhD position, just say so there. For a master's position, for a research internship, whatever it is, just say so in your email. And if you're someone who has external source of funding, or you are looking into an external funding body, you already know where you're getting your scholarship from. You just need an approval from a particular supervisor in any given university. Just mention that in the email as well, in the second paragraph, and in your subject line as well, that you have potential funding, or you have the potential of bringing in funding. But still make it short, concise, and use keywords rather than entire sentences or overly worded sentences over there. So this should make sure that you do get replies. Another thing that would enhance your chances of getting replies is the timing of sending email. And these timings are twofold. The first kind of timing is the time of the year. Because if you're applying to a university that has PhD deadlines in January and you're applying to them in February or March, there are chances they've already recruited people. They do not need more people that year. And then you wouldn't get replies, or you would get negative replies. So when you're doing your homework of searching supervisors or universities, just make sure you know the university deadlines and apply accordingly. Another form of timing that you need to take care of is the timing of sending your email. If you're sending an email to another country, someone in another part of the world, then make sure you do not send them an email in the middle of the night, their time. Just make sure your emails ideally reach them early in the morning on Monday or Tuesday, never on the weekends. Because it's not just that they're not checking their emails, it's that they're receiving a ton of different emails from a ton of different people. They supervise a lot of people, they are reviewers for journals, and they have collaborations. So they're receiving a bulk of different emails. And if your email reaches them at a wrong time, it might just be lost in transition between thousands of emails that they do not read. Send them at a time when they're actively looking at their email boxes, and this is generally for most professors early in the morning. For example, if you are sending an email to someone in the UK, make sure it reaches them by 8 or 9 a.m. maximum on a Monday or Tuesday morning, or any other weekday. Just do not send them on weekends. Now, if you did everything well, you wrote a good email, you kept it concise, you did not send attachments, and you sent it at a good timing with like 9 a.m., you send them within ample time of the application deadlines, and you still don't get a reply. So you can send a follow-up email, but make sure you do give a gap of at least a week or two, so that you know that maybe they haven't looked at it, or they have the chance to decide, or whatever the case is. You can send a follow-up email, and that would be okay. And if you don't still get a reply, in the worst case scenario, you can move on to search for other professors. On that note, one thing I would suggest is not to apply to more than one professor from one particular department or university at a time, because these people generally collaborate with each other. And if your name comes up as someone who's applied to two or more of them, and they discuss among themselves, then they would never reply to you, because they would think you're not serious and you're just applying to every person randomly, taking your chances. Just do not convey that. If you do not hear from someone, you've approached one person, and then you can approach the second person after giving a gap of 10 to 15 days, just to make sure that they're not going to reply to you later. If they haven't replied to you within 15 days, there's a chance they wouldn't reply to you. So then you can approach the next person, but do not send a bulk of your emails in the same place at the same time to different professors. Similarly, you can ideally apply to more than one professor at a time, given that they are in different universities, and that might just increase your chances of getting replies. Also, I would suggest that when you're doing your homework of searching for universities and everything, just plan this out really well, so that the emails that overlap are going to different universities, ideally different countries, or wherever you're sending them. Just make sure that you have everything ready, really planned out, so that you're not rushing and you're not sending emails randomly without really putting thought behind it. So that is basically the whole gist of it, and that should suffice getting a reply, and ultimately a positive reply as well. And if you do get a negative reply, please don't be disheartened, because that is still a reply. And negative replies are generally because those professors might not have positions available in their lab, or they might not have funding for that year. So do not be disheartened. There's always a chance someone else has funding, has positions. If you're getting replies, even if they're negative, that means your emails are being read, and you should be happy and move on to the next step. So just to summarize all that I've said is to make sure you're writing a good email. You're not copying off someone else's email. Your email is clear. It is not generalized. It is specific and personalized, because everyone likes to know that you have actually taken an interest in them. It's just human nature. So just take an actual interest in them and then apply. Do not send too many attachments. Do not send email on the weekends or middle of the night. And do not send emails when the deadline for admissions have already passed. And all of this should ideally ensure that you do get replies, and ultimately positive replies as well. So good luck with your PhD admissions. I hope you found this video useful. If you did, please give it a thumbs up. And if you haven't already subscribed, please consider doing so. Also, if you think there's someone who is applying for a PhD position and could benefit from this video, please share it with them. And I will see you in the next video. Thank you. Bye-bye.